welcome to episode 156 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
And God is frowns on us today, ladies and gentlemen. If there is a God, we will not be accepted into his heaven anymore.
Got any chili dogs?
Oh gosh, like guys, I put on that mask. The eye holes are so small that it's like hilarious. You can maybe get like one eye.
Audio only people, you're missing out.
Yeah, this is why you give us the YouTube clicks.
Yeah,
this right here.
Yeah, this may or may not be used in future skits. By that I mean it's going to be used a lot in future
100%. We must justify this purchase. Yes. This terrifying purchase that was obviously designed after the original Sonic movie design.
Yep.
Some would say the superior. Very few would say the superior. But it's the one that
the one guy who actually designed its mother. Yeah. It's still adamant on it.
Yeah. He definitely is. Jeff, how you doing this evening?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing good. Sorry the podcast is a little late, you guys, but we're here. We're ready to talk about video games and all the things we love about them because we're kind of funny, apparently. But before we get into those video games, let's begin with our opening game. Where do you see yourself in 5 stars? So, Jeff, as you know, you are Bowser's hiring manager.
Yes.
You've been working the last few weeks to build him up an army using the multiverse. So you can get recruits from anywhere across the multiverse. And so far, you have assigned Bowser's cavalry as a bunch of slimes. He has a slime army. And his war commander is King Mickey.
Yes.
So that's where we're at so far. But this army, you're going to need a way for your army and war commander and everyone else in Bowser's party to travel across to chase after Mario. Mm-hmm. So Bowser's going to beef up his mobility game, his airship game. He has his giant pirate ship thing that he drives around. Ditching that. He's going for an upgrade. It hasn't worked, so he's going bigger and better. So Jeff, this might be the fastest one potentially, but I have 4 options for you today. We have number 1, Halberd from Kirby. Number 2, the High Wind from Final Fantasy VII. Number 3, Fahrenheit from Final Fantasy X. Or number 4, the Great Fox from Star Fox. What is going to be Bowser's new transportation airship in his quest to take down the plumber?
I'm trying to... So, from a standpoint of being able to do a lot, Gray Fox probably. You know, the other ones might be able to do space. But we know Gray Fox can do space.
You do know. I feel like Halberd probably can too.
Kirby's weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know all that Kirby lore.
Yeah, but I mean, I respect going with what you know. Bowser is not going to respond kindly if you disappoint him. Mm-hmm. And you know that.
Yeah. I just imagine Gray Fox also probably faster overall, maybe. Or at least, not the slowest. Yeah. It's combined with the whole definitely being able to go to space because, galaxy, so they've been in space. Yeah. That's not a new thing for Mario.
And I mean, I don't know. On board the Great Fox, you might have the Landmaster. Yeah. You might have whatever the fuck the rest of their ships are called.
R-Wings.
R-Wings, yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
Lasers.
Lots of lasers. For sure lasers. Yes. For sure lasers. Yeah, I mean, I think it would probably be between those two, even though I think the Final Fantasy ones are cooler. Yeah. Just me looking at them, they're cooler. But yeah, I think I respect that decision. I think I do. And, Super Mario Galaxy, Mario's already proven he is friends with the star goddess who can, take him from galaxy to galaxy. So you're going to need to chase that plumber.
Who may or may not be his daughter or niece.
Theories.
Yep. I can't keep up with the popular one. Yeah. Can't remember which one.
We'll just didn't you want to do some like bogus Mario timeline video or something? I remember you bringing something up. I don't remember how it was gonna be.
I think it might have been a Smash timeline.
Maybe it was.
Every series in Smash.
Well, now if we're adding on to the Mural and the Dreams game that has been being made from this, totally being made from this, we have King Mickey leading a bunch of slimes on the Great Fox. We got quite the fiction going on here. Not fiction. This is reality. This is real business. Jeff, I don't really think we have anything we've played really this week to talk about. I don't believe. I played a little bit more Spiritfarer. I'm still really enjoying it, but not really enough to where I really want to talk about that much.
If we were cool, we'd be playing Avengers right now. Or, I don't know, is it only media people are playing Avengers? I don't know. I saw a bunch of people saying they're playing Avengers.
I didn't see. I don't
sounds like it's just media people.
Probably comes out. I think it comes out like on the 4th. I think it's like this Friday. Yeah.
I'm still not gonna get it. We're not gonna get it. We know that. But at least it sounds like the beginning of the story is actually better than it looked.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope for the best. I mean, my whole thing with this game is even if it was good, I probably wasn't gonna be that interested in it just from like style.
Yeah.
But and this is one of those games that a bunch of people are gonna like, even though I would think it's trash. And like, I'm so happy for those people. Go, do you think
it's okay? They all think League of Legends is trash.
Yeah, and they're just wrong.
Yeah,
sometimes you're just wrong. So, with that being said, let's just bust right into the news jingle, Jeff.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. And random, Darby, but just help me remind you. There's a new Pokemon product they just announced for around Halloween. Some new little figure things.
It helps you wipe your butt.
Yes.
Just like you can brush your teeth.
Remind me to show you those. I think you'll like them. Because Halloween ghost themed.
Ooh, I do like them ghosts. Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's not up right now, but yeah. We did record recently the beginnings of what's going to be a new Pokemon series featuring singer-songwriter Lloyd from our Pokemon Shield Nuzlocke, where I had drafted a team of ghost Pokemon, and I'm going to be a ghost gym leader going in through a bunch of different trials and tribulations. It'll be fun. So look forward to that video soon where you see me draft my team.
Yep. Good stuff.
All right, Jeff. Jeff Keighley's up to some shit, Jeff.
Always.
He's doing some shenanigans again.
Greasing them pops. Always greasing.
Oh, yeah. Jeff's always on his grind.
Yep. So, yeah, we had the Gamescom opening night live presentation and Gamescom in general, which apparently there's more trailers and stuff that were shown. I have not gone through those as much as I probably should have in preparation for this podcast because we've been busy over the weekend. But I was able to get a couple other tidbits besides the actual show.
Yes.
I will go through them and let's see if there's anything else. And depending probably not going to happen then because I remember what next week is as far as the podcast goes.
Yeah. Next week is the big bet thing. Bet thing.
But I guess as far as that, me and you will probably do a little mini thing if there's any significant news.
Yeah, and I mean, we can always get it in next week. I mean, I think I would have heard about it if there was something absolutely bonkers crazy. So.
Yeah. Okay, so, I got the long list of games. We're not going to go over everything. Darby has not actually watched the thing, which is fine. Of course.
For what I've heard, it's fine. It's kind of fine to have not watched it.
Go over some highlights and all that kind of stuff. Give overall impressions. And I figure we can at least talk, since this is the ending of it, a little how we feel about the Summer's Game Fest.
Yeah. Definitely have thoughts.
Yeah. So, start the pre-show with Kyle Bossman.
Hey!
Former Easy Allies and game trailers who we both love dearly.
Oh, yes. Love that man and his weird headband.
Did you at least watch that?
I saw some of it. I didn't see all of it. I probably should go watch. I mean, how long is that pre-show?
It's only like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I should probably at least watch it.
Especially if you skip trailers, it's short.
I saw more of the pre-show than anything else because I was watching your live reactions, which you can find on YouTube, by the way. YouTube.com/NerdsAlike. You can find Jeff's live reactions, and you can find my reactions to a lot of the big trailers. But
yep. Start with a Scarlet Nexus trailer, trying to show the one Japanese game of the night, I think.
And you were impressed by this trailer, weren't you?
I thought it looked cool. Just because, showing off more, hey, psychic powers and stuff. Hey, it's more than just telekinesis, it's pyrokinesis and anything we can do with that. Also very interesting. I kind of scrubbed through it because I, shortly before recording this podcast, There's actually on IGN, I believe, like about 10 minutes of just straight gameplay that I kind of browsed. Like it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty basic, so I'm curious to seeing more of how things are actually done and how progression is, and the story and all that. But there are a couple cool things. Like if I saw it right, you can obviously use your telekinesis to grab things and move them around and stuff. I think one time the guy grabbed oil cans, slammed them against someone. They broke. Used telekinesis to make the oil go up. Sprout with it, and I think set it on fire.
Yeah, that's you gotta set it on fire at some point.
So stuff like that. It looks neat. So I'm interested in this game.
If you were gonna compare it to a fighting another action game, like what does it look like? It is kind of going towards.
I'm trying to think. It reminds me a little bit of just, I guess, because the anime art styles and the cops type thing is Astral Chain, maybe, but maybe not as deliberate. I don't know. Again, I just kind of scrubbed through a little bit of footage. I didn't watch the full thing.
Yeah. I was just curious.
Yeah. The rest of that, there's some kind of weird Ford car thing. Ford gamer car.
Ford gamer car.
Yeah.
Wait, are we still in Scarlet Nexus?
No.
Oh, did Kyle Bosman reveal a car?
Yes.
Is it in a game, or is it's an actual Ford car you can buy that just has Crash
Bandicoot on it? So it's a weird thing where they were showing like actual video game stuff of just going around, and then it's like, and we're gonna make this car real. And I'm like, what is going on? And why would I stop it?
Was it like a ridiculous looking car? So they were gonna make a real car?
It's like the futuristic thing. It's like, no one's driving this car besides billionaires.
Man, there's the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
That just Elon Musk is probably driving. But.
Yeah. Not much else here. Cute little Keeley interview that obviously, Kyle even said, like, I actually knew all the answers to the questions I was asking, but... And then we got Kyle's 10 reasons to be excited for Gamescom opening night live, which is very important.
Do you think he was right? Do you think he led you astray?
No.
Okay.
No, it was kind of funny that one of them was surprise PS5 demo, but at the time, Kyle didn't know it was Ratchet, and I guess Keeley edited in there, don't tell Kyle it's Ratchet.
That's fun. Keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Even though we all knew going into it, but...
Yep. Then we got to the main show. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Open the show. Showing a little trailer. Showed Reagan.
Yeah, lots of people aren't happy or are happy or whatever you in this, whoever you are, is what, like, I'm pretty indifferent about all this. I just don't really care about Call of Duty all that much. It is weird. Like, this has to be like the most modern thing Call of Duty has touched on as far as like a real event, right? I think. I mean, or really honestly, any of these like shooters and stuff, it's usually always either like World War II or the distant future with crazy mechs and wall running.
Probably some Civil War stuff in there, maybe.
Like,
or maybe that might be too.
Yeah, I'm about to say, Call of Duty certainly has not done Civil War.
I'm talking about it in general.
I think like World War I is like the furthest these games go back with like Battlefield. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's weird. It's kind of weird to see politicians like Reagan that like my parents talk about. Like I know people who are alive and adults during that administration, so it definitely makes it interesting. It's definitely different, and I think that also leads to people having more opinions about like how it's being shown, because it's something that hits closer to home. When you talk about World War II, even if you exaggerate and do stuff, it's like that's history to all of us. Yeah, none of us lived through it. It's all history or whatever.
No, I mean, not anyone I guess.
Very few of the people.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyone playing these games, probably not.
No. And but with Reagan, it's like, a good percentage of people either live through them or it's like close enough to where like more about it and everything. And it does seem like Call of Duty would be. I mean, Call of Duty is the perfect example of those. Like, it's not political while it's very out. Like, I mean, come on, like, look, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But I mean, I'm sure it'll be a fun game, but I don't know. But I just don't care that much.
Unknown 9 Awakening, one of the few new games shown. Got a little cinematic trailer, and then stuff at the end. They just made it confusing because it's like, oh, we're talking about this girl. Then the splash screen thing shows 5 different people.
They're way older.
That don't look like. I mean, one of them might have been the little girl, but they didn't exactly look like the little girl. And it's like, what's going on? And then apparently there's some stuff online about backstories and stuff, and I'm just confused.
Yeah, apparently there's been like podcasts showing the story of this game for years, and no one knew what the game was, so no one cared about the podcast being released. It's like this just completely exemplifies how to not show your game to me. Like, because this screams to me like internally they're like, this is awesome, we love this story, we love this concept, we love these characters or whatever, and they have that so in their head that it's so cool that they expect it's like, we're just gonna dump all this here or whatever and tease all this and everyone's gonna be just as excited as us. And it's like that, like I don't know what's going on here. I don't know any of these characters. I don't even know what the game is. I don't like. You have to hook me. You can't just expect people to be as excited as you. You have to show us why that's the case. And man, we've been, even in the time that we've been doing it, like doing this show and stuff, it's like it still amazes me that game developers don't learn that lesson. But like, yeah, this is nothing. I don't know what to be excited about, so I'm gonna forget this game exists. And kind of like I think Brandon Jones said on like Frame Trap this week. I don't think he was talking about this game. I think he was talking about another one. But the same thing, like you don't get that first impression back. Like that's very important with the amount of games that we see flooded in our eyes on a daily basis. So it's like
that's why like it's. You think of like all the games and stuff we've seen this past week, and you think of like Kena in particular who nailed it, who is still everyone's thinking about whenever I see stuff like let's get half the PS5. Kena's there with the big boys.
Yep, and that's because immediately you knew what that game was.
Yeah, I mean, just from awesome like cinematic trailer telling story, it's like that could have been enough for people. Like I think that was better than a lot of people do. But they also showed in actual gameplay, which like, oh god, that's what it actually looks like in game.
I promise you, if you didn't have the gameplay, we wouldn't be talking about it as much.
That
looked really pretty, but it would kind of be a fleeting thing. It'd be like, all right, I mean, it's obviously a lot of budget went into that or whatever, or that was really well made, but like, what is the game? But the fact that it went boom and right in there into that, now, you're right. That is the perfect one. That went from we don't know what this is to people are still talking about that every time they talk about the PS5.
Yeah.
Which
that and Bugsnax.
That's how you do it. Yeah. And Bugsnax. Never forget Bugsnax.
They didn't do exactly the gameplay stuff, but they did it in their own way.
They had the hook.
Your
hook can be multiple different things.
Well, if you're not going to do the whole gameplay thing, if you could do it like Bugsnax, you're still doing good.
Make a viral song. See, game developers, it's not hard. Just make a viral song.
Okay. Doom Eternal the new DLC look cool.
Turn your head. You hear the string in your hair?
Oh, cool. Doom Eternal looked cool. It looked like some crazy shit's going on. I guess he's gonna kill God, as you do. Weird ass BioWare thing.
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces, but I never saw this whole thing.
It's like they announced this, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years ago at the Game Awards, where they teased it, and now this thing. Oh, it's Dragon Age. It's like, if you're going to come out after 2 years, you don't do this blog thing in the middle of this big thing. You actually show something and then end it, show at least something, and then at the end be like, to know more, look at the blog post, because people watching this, the people who care will want to watch it, but everyone else is like, come on.
Yeah, it's not a big show like this is not the place.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like we'll say for the World of Warcraft thing later. I think this is also not the place for this. It's like, this is for the big BioWare nerds who are going to actually seek out your like blog posts and everything.
And the content on them something look cool, but it's like I don't know how that translates to the actual game.
And it's like, hey, don't do that type of tease reveal twice, basically. It's
and
like,
also, actually, what it made me worry about it, like when this game would come out. I mean, I'm probably not going to play it anyway, but just from the actual kind of footage I saw, it was very early. It's like, did they just announce Dragon Age last time? You know, when they announced it, when it was just kind of a concept.
I think, yeah.
And just they barely have anything to show even at this point. It's like, then why? Don't talk about it. Or don't announce it then. Stop it.
I agree.
Then that weird Surgeon Simulator 2 bit.
Yeah. We don't need to go beat by beat through everything or whatever.
Oh, I know. They just started big. I'm not planning on it. Yeah.
But we definitely have to talk about the, like, how stupid of a decision is it to have Christopher Lloyd and play the Back to the Future music, and then it's not a Back to the Future announcement. Yeah. It's like, how can you not realize what you're doing there? Like, I know you're excited because you have him, and everyone's excited because of Back to the Future, But like, you can't like don't play the music. You can have him and be like, yeah, Jeff has a bunch of famous friends, and he's really happy about having a bunch of famous friends. It's like, okay, yeah, whatever. He's there. I don't think you would have immediately. You would have maybe been like, oh, maybe, but you wouldn't have been immediately like, ooh, Back to the... Like, I do not fault anyone for getting really hyped for a Back to the Future announcement. How could you? Yeah. How could you blame them? It's like, I don't know, it's just really stupid. And it just makes it, I hate it for Surgeon Simulator because it makes it like, fuck this. It's like, get out of here. You know, it kind of
then it goes into a trailer of showing a bunch of streamers playing it. It's like...
I mean, that is the biggest appeal of Surgeon Simulator, is honestly the streaming thing. Yeah. That's all that I've ever seen.
Yeah. Part of me wonders, like, it's the audience who's probably watching this live the kind that get excited for that. I might be wrong on that, but
I don't know. Yeah. No. I mean, the first one was a big deal at the time. I have no clue.
I'm not trying to downplay Surgeon Simulator. Yeah. British constructed Walking Dead. That's just a weird thing. Like, really big crossover you're not going to see coming, and then it's that. It's like, yeah, no one cares for this. Kind of thing.
Keely has a problem with like hyping things up there. Technically true, but like, come on, man, you know.
Yeah. Then you said the World of Warcraft thing, which is I think literally went on for 10 minutes when you add everything up. Between the animated short and the actual trailer where they actually showed the thing, it's like
the problem is like, and it wasn't even like. You could justify it if it's one of Blizzard's crazy cinematics that they do every now and then. Like, Blizzard does some, like, bonkers cinematics that even if you're not interested in the game, the cinematic is just so fucking cool. It's like, no, this was just for the nerdy World of Warcraft people. Not just World of Warcraft players in general, because a lot of people play that game and don't know or care about the lore. This is for the, like, very nerdy people. Like, it's for someone, but not the show's audience for 10 minutes. Like, that's that just feels like that's what Blizzard sent Jeff. Jeff gave them no content, so he's like, hey, just send me whatever you want, and they sent him a 10-minute video, and he's like, all right, I guess I'll just shove this in.
Yep. Crash Bandicoot 4, the flashback tapes, just showing off what's going to be the crazy challenge mode. Actually, it's lore implications because it's set before Crash 1, which is really neat. Every time they show this game, just gonna be more excited for this. Good. So everything they're doing it right. At this point, I'm gonna be surprised if this game ends up being bad.
Oh yeah. No. We've seen enough about this game. I think we know,
and people actually playing it. Tear down that heist-looking, Minecraft-looking thing. With the crazy physics, which looks awesome.
It actually did look really cool. Yeah. Very interesting. I mean, it just looks like.
Though I think Huber pointed out, it's like not really a heist per se.
But just the physics impressed me, especially the more and more the trailer went. And like the art style, it's an interesting Minecraft, but also mixed with like very realistic fire, very realistic rain, realistic like whenever he shot the gun, I'm like, that sounds like a real shotgun. It's like it's almost out of place.
Well, and part of the thing that's very impressive again, I think the whole game's made by 2 people and 1 guy making the engine.
Wow.
Made his own engine for the game.
Yeah. So it just looked fun. Yeah. I don't even exactly know, like, did he have it probably won't look as crisp and clean when we play it because it looked like the person knew what they were doing. They were like, I do this, I do that, and then I jump here and I do that. It's going to be like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Oh, yeah. Could be a fun, like, stream game.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. I'm interested to see like how long it is. What all are you doing?
I think it's procedurally generated, so I might just be, and maybe some people can make their stuff. I don't know. We'll see. Probably my trailer of the show, Little Nightmares 2, baby.
Yeah,
trailer's so dope. We're getting it February 11th, 2021. Then later 2021 for the next gen consoles.
Yeah. Which is interesting, but whatever. At least
but
it's not really a game that you're gonna feel like, I need to wait for the more powerful ones.
Especially since it's gonna be on Switch, so it doesn't need much. But game looked really creepy as it should. Open their game in some ways. It's co-op. That's gonna be fun.
So perfect for that game. Yeah, and I think that'll help it get out to more people.
I agree. I'm excited for that one.
It's not
Day
like,
one, baby.
I'm sure it's not, but it doesn't have to be co-op, right?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't.
But we will play it co-op.
Yeah.
As long as you're down to play it.
Let's do it, baby. Star Wars Squadron, look cool.
Yeah, it was a little more story stuff. Not a whole lot here, but I mean that game still looks like A+, 10 out of 10. Like they're nailing it, even if it may not be for me. It really does seem like they're nailing this game.
12 minutes. The trailer technically didn't show much new. Well, a big difference is, I guess I didn't go back and look. I'm just assuming so. It added voice acting and narration, and at the end though, it said who we were hearing, which was Willem Dafoe narrating and James McAvoy and Daisy Ridley as the couple.
It's like, what?
Yeah. What? I mean, we were in for that game anyway, but that got our ears worked up like, okay.
I really do wonder if that's part of why we haven't seen this game for so long, is because like they were like, wait a minute, we can have these people? Okay, change it. We're putting in voice acting. Take all your speech bubbles away. We're doing voice acting.
I can see, and I think it's cool. I'm fine with that because it said coming soon at the end, so we should be getting it this year.
Yeah, and like I want to start seeing, like, you know, obviously we had Walking Dead, man. Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen and Death Stranding and stuff. But, you know, that was still a very high budget Sony produced game or whatever. I do hope we maybe start seeing more like actors like this in smaller games like that. Like in the same way that Willem Dafoe is a big actor, but he also does a bunch of like small art house movies just because he wants to. And like I think it'd be cooler. It'd be cool if some of those people start also like they're in an Annapurna game. It's interesting. I mean,
honestly, Willem Dafoe is the least surprising out of these, just because of the reasons you say.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, Daisy Ridley is both of McAvoy and Ridley are both surprising,
but great cast gets me more excited for the game.
Very cool, very very cool. I wonder if that's like an Annapurna pool or if that's just like, I don't know. I wonder how that comes to be. I'd like to hear the behind the scenes. You know, when this
good news is Game Pass, baby. Yeah. But we get this game anyway.
I would buy this game anyway. I'm so interested in this game.
I'm just saying this because it was so damn weird. Godfall. The marketing for this game and these events is terrible.
You think it's too long in the last one, too short in this one? What do you want from them?
This is me as a podcast guy and a marketing major going off on this shit. You show, hey, new character, and then like 10 seconds of musicless footage of not really any interesting combat, then just a quick cut. The marketing strategy is not to show anything interesting. It's to literally show it everywhere. Reminding PS5 launch title. And that's how they're going to expect to sell their game. And it will probably work.
Just because of the launch title. That's what...
And it being exclusive.
I think it was also, I guess I'm just quoting Brandon left and right, but I think also on Frame Trap, he like said, yeah, Godfall is like only big... like selling point they keep pushing is that it's on the PS5. Yeah. It's pretty much the only thing. They're like, hey, it's a PS5 launch title, so the game's not great, but you're gonna buy it anyway because you have a new console.
I haven't seen many people like actually kind of excited for it. The most I've seen is looking at it partly because it's a PS5 launch title, and part of me is also like crazy, like, man, even if we're, you know.
I'm not gonna blow money just to blow money.
People are too focused on next-gen exclusives as far as looking at the launch and not looking at cross-gen and ones that aren't or cross-platform and stuff. Yeah. Like, they're completely ignoring the fact that Cyberpunk is practically a launch title. Yes. It's cross-gen. Who gives a fuck?
Yes.
Let's see. Skipping some games. Blah blah. I want to give a shout out to Lego Star Wars.
Very good.
That was an excellent trailer. It got me like, man, I'm sure I would enjoy this game.
That might be my trailer of the show. Even if I don't play this game, I just think it was such a well-made trailer.
It was an excellent trailer.
It was like to sell that game. I mean, immediately. I'm sure there's other people who like. You know, I have very, very big nostalgia for all those games. I'm sure there's other people who are also like, I'm kind of cynical on Star Wars. I'm sure that if other people are less cynical and also have the nostalgia I had, I bet that trailer was enough to be like, all right, I'm getting it. You know, and I'll consider it. I mean, I don't know, because also it looked. You know, I played like pretty much all the old Lego Star Wars games, but like all those other games, you know, they're really fun, but it was, you know, it's a kid's game and it was mostly the same thing over and over again. It was like cool going through all the movie settings and stuff, and there was sometimes a little like racing mini games or something like that. But for the most part, it was, run around, slash things, pick up things. This one I'm looking at, it was like, it looks like there's a lot of variety in this. There was like over the shoulder third person shooter times. There was like flying around pod racing. There was like, it just
flight
like
combat
to it.
Shit combat and all.
And the fact that it spans the entire Star Wars saga.
Well, and there were a couple of shots in there. I'm like, this just looks like graphically, it just looks good.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very charming. You know?
And Lego games are fun. So.
Which I always love those Lego Star Wars games. Like even playing through the prequels, even the like prequel movies that like aren't great or whatever. It's like playing through it in there was really funny, and they would like make fun of it all the time.
Yeah, I'll say it probably make fun of itself somewhere.
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Let's see. Fall Guys Season 2. We got some information about that.
Knights and Dragons, baby.
Yeah, baby. We got some Knights and Dragons. We got some look at some new games, and there's already I can tell some stuff's gonna be irritating because one of the like racing ones, like get to the finish or whatever, involves you actually working with other people, kind of like what the teeter, what or blanking on the name,
Seesaw.
Yeah, Seesaw.
Oh yeah,
kind of like that, but potentially more irritating because that's even more people just standing at the top not doing shit, and like I gotta do this if no one else does. So yeah,
it'll be irritating in the best possible way.
Yeah,
like no, I'm definitely excited. This is exactly what this game needs to like pretty quickly get out a bunch of new the games and stuff. And I am very down for the idea of every season having a theme.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool.
So this thing is not going to be out for another month, if I'm not mistaken. While you say that may not be fast enough, I think the smart thing from a marketing standpoint is, since this thing is so big and it's actually, I think, growing in Twitch numbers, at least it has been, just at least announcing it to get people excited, even if some people are kind of going off a little bit now, they'll jump back in and have back in their mind that, season 2 is coming with all this stuff.
And again, I'm sure they are ramping up that team way bigger than they ever.
They're hiring people left and right.
And it's crazy because you got to remember, a few weeks ago, they expected this game to okay, it'll be really good for us if it sells 1 million copies. It sold 7 million on Steam alone. It's like...
So yeah, let's actually, I had the Fall Guy thing later. Let's just talk about that real quick just in this section. So yeah, Fall Guy, 7 million on Steam alone. Most downloaded PlayStation Plus game of all time. Which is insane. And as far as that, let me see, let's get the wording from, I got my thing from lower down. Let's see. On Talk Guys with Gary Whitta and Kate Stark, we got a little new info because they had on the second episode, I think, the guy who was in the trailer on Opening Night Live, and the guy who handles their Twitter account.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
Premium follower.
Here's some new information. New season pass will be free. Good.
Yes.
Anti-cheat top priority. Great for PC. We don't see it, but I've seen videos of literally characters coming from the Flash, like in PC, and it's bad.
And once again, very small team who was not prepared for all those.
Custom servers planned.
That
is huge for streamers.
Yeah, huge for streamers.
Colorblind mode accessibility changes coming ASAP.
Very good.
Cross-platform planned.
That very, very good too. Yeah.
Official merch coming, and official. It's an Apple. I don't know what that's referring to, but I'm sure some people are like, "What? Yes, I know." No, but they like, especially like you kept on saying this is a small team. It's something like having the most popular game out right now. I think they're handling things very well.
Well, my fear was going to be that they weren't going to be prepared to like do a meaty add-on thing for this for many months and lose their window because they just didn't have the resources planned. Because again, I mean, having to shift your plans that much in that short amount of time is kind of crazy. I mean, they, even just like their actual like server load, and they're like, I was going to say office space, but no one works in the office anymore because the world's going shit. But it's like, literally a few weeks ago, it's like, okay, we'll maybe ramp up our team a little bit if it gets successful or whatever. And then it went like 5 times more than they ever expected. So now they're like, shit, start hiring people. So I actually think October is pretty impressive to be able to like get a pack out there.
And I haven't played it, a crazy amount, but I've loved when we've played it and just sometimes playing on my own.
I'm wanting to hold back some, kind of want to like burn myself out on it, But if they have this pack in October and then another one by Christmas, I think be pretty good shape overall.
They deserve it, and Devolver deserves this. Unquestionably the most successful game.
It kind of makes me smile every time I boot it up and see Devolver Digital, and I'm like, man, this game is by far the biggest thing, the most eyes that have been on Devolver Digital ever.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool.
Quality game. Let's see. Nothing else. Let's see. Too crazy.
I want to check out Spellbreak. I think I want to check out Spellbreak when it comes out this week.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in.
I'm not a big battle royale guy. I'm gonna be shit at it, but the more trailers I look at it, was like the abilities and everything in that game interest me more than any other battle royale ever has, because it's not just everyone's running around shooting and picking up better guns and everything. Like people are doing like AOE spells, doing all like it just looks interesting. Even if I might not get into it. I might think it's good, but still not really play it because again I'm gonna be trash. But I'm down to try it.
I'm there with you.
It is free to play, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually have it on here, free to play.
Nice.
Medal of Honor VR game looked really neat. I think I started with VR game, cool, but the whole normal soldier thing has never really appealed to me. Then I kept going. It's like, man, this game just looks fun.
I don't think I even saw this actually.
They're pretty good.
Cool.
Though I do get some people's being bummed that a Medal of Honor game's being made and it's just VR.
Yeah,
kind of like with Half-Life.
I mean, do we not think it's a like side thing, and there could be a normal Medal?
I don't follow Medal of Honor.
I don't either.
Let's see. Destiny got a new trailer. Press looked pretty cool. Then it ended with Ratchet and Clank.
Which sounds very hype, and don't get me wrong, this is my most anticipated game. Cyberpunk, but outside of Cyberpunk, my most anticipated game coming out. But this really was very little new.
Yeah,
very very little.
It was more to show off from an Insomniac standpoint. This is what you saw with actual in-game stuff, and you're able to see like how it kind of improved between these last couple months if you kind of look closely at some things. Some like the pop-in stuff and all that.
Yeah, the pop-in was better. I mean, but it was. I mean,
but from a Keighley standpoint, it's like you had this thing up. It's your closer, and it's slightly longer gameplay of stuff we've already seen. The biggest thing that's actually new is that Ratchet and Clank is a launch window title.
Yeah. Which it still could not. That could still land exactly where we all kind of thought it might anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, because launch window could span all the way to freaking March or April of next year.
It has been funny though, this happening and people just kind of having their own definitions of launch windows.
Because
I know it's very ambiguous.
They say that so they can wiggle out into whatever because it's a meaningless term. Yeah. It's a term that means nothing really. Yeah. It just means that like. Really, in the broad spectrum, it means it's probably coming out in the sometime before halfway through next year, which is a nothing statement, pretty much.
I think me and you generally agree that it probably means they're planning like April at the latest.
I'm expecting February is what they're shooting for. Is what I'm expecting.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, I'm just saying absolute latest probably April. If they hit what they're planning on. But also, and I think a plus of this, the fact that they're going ahead and okay with showing this again is they feel confident that they can hit that.
Yeah. It is weird that we're seeing this and still haven't seen Miles Morales.
Yeah, that is weird. But at least it being, again, launch window makes more sense by at least seeing this somewhat.
Yeah.
But
I say lock it in, Miles Morales, state of play sometime in the next 2 months.
You know what? I agree. But Insomniac put it in work for PlayStation
Seriously.
launch. That purchase they made, which is now looking like, more and more like a steal.
Oh yeah, top
very smart because these games were being made anyway, probably before the purchase, but it's just kind of like it seals them down to like. Now this is all they're doing. Like, this is what they're doing just for the PlayStation platform.
Yeah, not that they weren't already in that echelon, but they are just, like, proving and kind of, like, more and more going up to be the top PlayStation studio. I think Naughty Dog's games sell absurd, like you saw. Naughty Dog is the number one. But, Insomniac, just, like, quantity-wise, they're just starting to become this behemoth that just churns out amazing things. And the fact that they have the Spider-Man license to, like, just keep making games forever is just, like, yeah, they're in.
Well, yeah, it's obviously Ratchet and Clank, and this looks like this could be like looking to potentially be the best one of this long storied franchise, and Sunset Overdrive sitting right there that they could pull in, and just general stuff. I know.
You speak like someone listening would be like, get really excited, and I'm like, Jeff, don't get that. Don't hurt that person. That person's been hurt enough.
I know. I can dream with the people.
It's possible.
Well, and also something interesting, potentially exciting, depending on what they decide to do with it. If Sony does continue with VR, Sony has the VR experience. So that's something else to hopefully look forward to, but we will see. A couple extra Gamescom things that I just kind of took out. I got all this information from IGN. Tamarin, which is from a bunch of former Rare devs and has David Wise and other people doing the soundtrack, is coming September 10th to PS4 and PC, and I know you don't know what this is. You might recognize it. It had a cute little monkey thing. Cute little world. It's a cute game. It doesn't look like anything spectacular, but it's a 3D platformer from former Rare devs, so I'm legally obligated to at least be interested.
Yeah, Rare 3D platformer. You're speaking Jeff's language.
Yeah. I say that though I didn't care for the original ukulele, but at least the sequel was 8.
But Rare didn't make that.
They're
former Rare devs, and that was former Rare devs. Yeah. But can I interest you in 5-hour energy?
Always. While you look at that, Genshin Impact will be released on PS4, PC, iOS, and Android on September 28th.
AKA Horny Breath of the Wild.
Horny Breath of the Wild. It being on mobile being on mobile definitely lowers my interest by almost 100%.
Wait, it's only on mobile?
It's not only on mobile, but it's also on mobile, so that makes me fear for it.
It's a game being made in China, right? I mean,
yeah.
So every Chinese game is on,
but it's free to play.
That Wuhan, whatever, what was it? Wukong, whatever the hell.
Yeah,
it's probably on mobile.
But
don't ask me how, but it's
Genshin Impact is apparently free to play, so we should stream it just for the hell of it.
Oh, that makes me feel even worse.
I know.
How is an open world RPG game on free to play? It's like, oh no.
I don't know.
Because you have to pay real money to get the sexy outfits, probably.
Let's go. And it's the most discussed game of the summer because it's fucking everywhere, even more than Godfall, Haven. The co-op adventure RPG.
It was there? Of course it was there. What am I talking
Will be officially coming to the Xbox Series X as a launch title. And it'll be on other stuff too.
Is it Game Pass?
Maybe. I think so. I don't know. I can't remember. I hope so.
I hope so too. Yeah,
because we joke about it, but me and you actually kind of enjoy when we played that demo.
Yeah. And the 18 times I've seen it, I think it looks interesting.
Yeah.
So, was it in the show? Was it in the stream?
It wasn't actually in Jeff's thing. Okay. These last couple things, IGN has kind of been showing a bunch of Gamescom games that would have been there, but if we had an actual thing. So again, I want to go through that kind of stuff and just maybe see if there's anything else interesting I missed. I just kind of went through it real quick. So they kept on tweeting and stuff, trailers left and right. So Darby, this is officially the end of Summer Games Fest.
Summer Game Mess.
And we've got to see how the whole summer when all these crazy events happened. And how do you feel, Darby?
I mean,
I know how you feel.
Not great. Not really great. I don't want to make it sound too over dramatic because at the end of the day, it's a video game announcement, and at the end of the day, we got cool things, but I think we definitely got less overall that I feel like was the things that would stick with you that you normally would get from just having an E3. I feel like we were missing things, or we got some announcements super late, some things like that. But it's not just that, it's also just the format I think kind of fell apart this summer. I think it was kind of like E3 has become too restricted. This was way too open and way too loose, in my opinion. And I still stand by what we said, I think, a few weeks ago, where I think you can have a summer of game announcements that's just as satisfying as E3 without it being an E3 and with it being spread out. But there needs to be some, like, again, even though I kind of disagree with a lot of like Keeley, the way he's been building shows recently, but I still do kind of wish that there was some guiding hand like Keeley that kind of like wrangled together all these events more, so it didn't feel like, it just felt like there's a lot of wasted time.
So the way I look at it as far as like the whole Keeley thing is like, I think Keeley generally like at this point the show formats he has are good when he actually shows stuff up. That sometimes, like we were saying, he hypes up some stuff that aren't as interesting as he thinks it necessarily is, or he might know, but he's a businessman, so he's trying to hype it up. But then there's sometimes where he has connections where he actually shows good, like he can obviously get stuff like the Unreal Engine 5 stuff and the original Crash 4 announcement, stuff like that. So he can do stuff. And he got all this stuff in this show. He got big stuff. It's just unfortunately, because we've seen the vast majority of the games this past summer, they were showing just kind of little updates and just kind of stuff to remind you they're here. Yeah. So he has the connection and everything, but so just getting at it is, I agree with you. Like if we had Keeley to kind of, at least for the some third party stuff, kind of just, or someone like that, to guide it and just kind of maybe do infrequent shows or frequent shows just kind of throughout the thing, that'd be better. And then still have like Sony and Microsoft, maybe some of the bigger third-party developers can still do their shit.
Yeah, but like, there's some of these shows I wish we could have just axed, and then like, Ubisoft Forward, cut that whole thing and mix those within the other shows, or just Ubisoft Forward was actually one of the better ones, but still, you know what I mean. Still,
I think also something that's just made this whole thing just kind of worse is partly because of COVID. Just people were less willing and more afraid to actually show stuff. Yeah. And I think that shows. All the points you have made still obviously stand. Yeah. But I think that did have a negative effect.
Yeah, I was going to say, at times it's hard to tell where the problems were poor planning and where the problems were COVID messing everything up.
Again, like you said, Ubisoft had one of the better ones, but even Ubisoft was kind of weird. It's like, we know you have more stuff, so where's God of Monsters or whatever the new title is that released today? I forgot about it and didn't put in here.
And again, everyone is just kind of like stringing it along because, again, everyone wants to like own the summer events. It's like, we want you to keep coming back to our events and everything. But it kind of reminds me, we talk about Bethesda, where it's like, why do you keep doing E3 press conferences? Like, you have good stuff, but not enough for a press conference. Just put your good stuff into the other shows or whatever. I feel like this is an entire summer of that. It's like, none of y'all have enough to be doing the events you're doing, but you're still trying to do them and trying to string them. Not only you didn't really even have enough for one event, but now you're trying to do like multiple things.
Or you're like Guerrilla Collective and you have too much shit.
God, yeah, that was a fucking mess. I mean, I know I've been pretty visceral about Guerrilla Collective. I mean, the idea is good, and I'm not going to say that like it shouldn't come back. I think it could be made better, but I will not watch that again if it looks like it's going to be the same type of thing. It's just there was just no cohesion. No one said no to anyone in that show.
Well, again, like we were making fun of Haven again. Haven was showed like every individual show that was part of Guerrilla Collective.
It was ridiculous
that it was applicable for.
Like no one was like overseeing this at all. Someone was asleep at the wheel. It was just kind of like you got a bunch of videos sent to you, and it's just like, throw them all in there. Do whatever. And it's like,
and just kind of like when there's kind of a bunch of indie games, because there are like a lot of them, and because they weren't saying no to things, there are a lot of uninteresting looking ones. I hate to say, and it just kind of ended up making the whole thing just kind of a mismatch stuff to make even the good looking stuff kind of forgettable because there's so much.
And I mean, I do want to say partially how I truly do feel. I mean, I think in a lot of ways E3 needs to go more for the ESA and like a lot of the stupid practices they do, and like how out of touch they are in a lot of ways, or the whole show is. But I mean, as a fan, I missed E3. I missed E3 quite a bit. I mean, I would have vastly preferred an E3 over what we got this year. Again, I think it could be done okay, but as of right now, I would, in a heartbeat, I would have rather all these things die and had an E3. I would like no question in my mind. I did like, and I honestly thought I might be saying the other way around. I honestly might have thought, COVID messed it up some, but this format was good. This format as it stands is not was not as entertaining as an E3 to me. I never really got that like we're all like yes, it's like it's time, like that feeling never really came for me.
I got a feeling that just partly, even if we did have the E3 there, like we still had the general E3 thing, but it was all digital. People will kind of be down on it more than normal. Because again, I look at the announcements that happened the last few months, regardless of how spread out it was and all that kind of stuff. I feel like there are a lot of stuff that we're missing there. Like I think of Bandai Namco. I just popped in my head, for instance. I don't think we got, besides like Scarlet Nexus, we got nothing really from them. Like, we expected like Tales and some other stuff, the normal kind of stuff where they have stuff like Elden Ring. They were no shows besides Scarlet Nexus for all this. Yeah. And you can point to a whole bunch of different developers and be like, yeah, they didn't show much. Like you were talking about Bethesda, like not normally having enough. This year they definitely don't if they were going to show what they did, because they pretty much only showed Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo throughout this summer. Yeah. They might have had updates for some mobile things that we missed.
They would have done a conference, and those would have been the only two big announcements.
Yeah. So I think it's a mix of both for why this summer is overall probably a wash as far as that goes.
Yeah. And you had weird things, like not like it matters to us, but you had the weird things of like Call of Duty still coming out at the same time, but they were obviously like super afraid to announce it, with COVID and everything like that. That normally that trailer was supposed to come out in June, I'm sure.
And it just like Nintendo, COVID affected
gone from the face of the earth.
Yeah. COVID obviously affected big time, and then, like at least for me, that's obviously a big part like of E3. And if they had as much stuff they did, that would have affected like for me personally E3 greatly if that happened. It's just kind of. Some companies got hit more where they don't show anything and they're just kind of scared to show what we assume they have, and they're coming out this year.
Last weird thing. Are we done with talking about game mess?
Yeah.
All right. Very quickly, I do not want to elaborate on this much because we could talk for a full hour. Why has Nintendo had so many different directs over the summer? Like, grand total, I'm counting like all the partner and indie and other partner and all these things.
By the way, the bet, they've had a direct for the bet. Just so you know.
Yeah, but they've had many things labeled directs. But I would argue their two biggest announcements of this entire year has been Paper Mario and Pikmin 3, both in tweets. Yeah. As businessman, why?
I have absolutely no idea. They didn't have enough to feel like to do a proper Nintendo Direct, so they probably thought that would be better. I don't know. Nintendo's weird sometimes. I mean,
but you could have even had a mini that ended with one of these or something. Like,
true. Yeah, they could have had these minis and just had that be the closer or something. I don't know. Yeah. What they're weird. Like even, beyond those, as far as stuff that was actually announced during the summer. This might have been technically announced before summer. I think it was like June-ish. Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Unite. Yeah. Those were announced.
Yeah.
And those, I mean, obviously people have the problems with Pokemon Unite, but that's undoubtedly going to be a big title. Those are two.
Obviously.
I mean, Pokemon Snap, I feel pretty good, could outsell Paper Mario and Xenoblade and Pikmin and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Pokemon Unite will probably make more money than all of that.
Oh,
yeah. So
a 10-cent, baby.
Yeah. They had some big announcements, just not as much as they should. Like, I'm not defending what they've said. It's been terrible.
Yeah, it just puzzles me. Yeah, like those two. It just feels like they're trying to kill the Direct brand and the hype and the weight that it held. Because as we talked about, I mean, the Direct name means less now than it did a few years ago. I don't think there's a way to fight against that. And this summer just felt like we are just.
So my potential counterpoint to that potential, and we'll just have to see. We have to see how it works when they just have a general direct.
Yeah,
but
I still think to the general audience, the fact that you've just had so many directs and so much like the direct, and it was the direct small,
but the general audience probably don't even know what a direct is. It's the hardcore who knows the little intricacies and differences. Like, we haven't had a general direct in a year. Yeah. It's been last September when we got one.
Oof, yeah.
So, yeah. I think we need to wait to see what happens when they actually have what they call a regular direct.
Yeah.
It don't have the mini asterisk or
at the very least, the summer is not helping.
No. I agree with you there. Help. Yeah. As far as we see if it means completely nothing, the direct name, let's wait.
Yeah, I don't think it's dead. It's just, it's not in a good place.
I know. I saw something from a fake Nintendo account where it had the plausible thing. It says, we're having a Nintendo Direct on like Thursday talking about future titles and Breath of the Wild. The whole thing where they have like a little 7 thing to check. I got excited for a second. Then I was like, wait, I gotta look at the name. Oh, fuck you. Get me excited, why don't you? So yeah.
Let's move on.
Want to talk about some backwards compatibility shit?
Sure. I love running backwards.
Always.
I'm gonna join the backwards race, the great backwards race.
Okay, so this is kind of a all-encompassing thing. We're back with compatibility, so we might be technically having 2 conversations. But let's get to this. This comes from Jonathan Dorbush from IGN. PlayStation 5 full backwards compatibility potential has remained somewhat of a mystery, as Sony has not confirmed or denied any potential for support beyond PS4 games. But a recent and now updated support page from Ubisoft has further muddied the waters about what past generations the PS5 will or won't be potentially backward compatible with. A Ubisoft support Q&A page, in response to a question about upgrading games from PS4 to PS5, as spotted by Warrior64 and confirmed by IGN, originally said that, quote, backwards compatibility will be available for support of PlayStation 4 titles, but will not be possible for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, or PlayStation games, end quote. And yeah, it goes on to say a little later that they have since deleted any mention of backwards compatibility on that page.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your take. I mean, this is one of those things that obviously if they came out and said that this was a giant PlayStation machine that can play every PlayStation game from any time ever, I'd be like, awesome, especially as someone who loves to replay games and has a giant collection of games. This is not something that I ever really expected in any, it's not something I'm not going to be angry about.
I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to be angry. I am going to be bummed though.
I'm bummed.
No, I'm bummed from the prospect of Microsoft's, obviously not every game, but they are making. They are trying to do that with, through the original Xbox, have games from the original Xbox and onward be backward compatible.
Can you put original Xbox disc in your Xbox Series X?
Are they for compatible games? Yes, I might be wrong.
Okay.
I feel like that was a thing.
Okay, I didn't know it went that far with that.
Yeah. I might be wrong on that, but yeah, you can play original Xbox games at the very least. Get them digitally. And they've said mentioned that for the Series X can be able to do that as well for all the same games.
All right, never mind. I'm furious, John.
Yeah, so it's kind of a bummer that they're not following Microsoft in on this, even if it's like not every game, because I don't know how this stuff works, but at least doesn't seem to be even trying to get some.
It's weird. It seems like Microsoft is cornering them in so many little fights that it's like, dude, these all add up, but then again, I think Sony is cornering them in the fight that matters the most, which is very good exclusive games. But I mean, me, I have a giant collection of I love playing old games over and over again. So I would love it if I didn't have to bust out my PS3 to play Sly Cooper. Yeah. Because I'm about to let my PS Now lapse because I'm not even using it. So then my PS3 is my Sly Cooper machine, basically.
Yep. Shame. And then also, I was just talking about how confusing backwards compatibility has been just for Xbox and PlayStation. Not necessarily to the fault of those 2 companies.
It's just a mess.
It's just a fucking
Whoever's
mess.
fault it is, it's a mess.
Microsoft has kind of been more pushing the backwards compatibility shit, obviously, and just kind of the beginning, trying to make it clear of what you can do more than Sony did at the time. Sony has kind of made it more clear, not really, but even Microsoft, the whole thing kind of did the whole thing of kind of pretty much said up to developer's choice or whatever, and that's where things get fucking insane.
Yes, I'll just come in real quick to say. I agree. I think Microsoft's been more opening with the messaging, but I think what we've ended up learning is that both companies are exactly the same in the sense that it's completely in the developer's hands on both sides. Sony hasn't been loud about it, but on both sides, it's yep, it can work. If the developers want to be shitty about it, they can.
Yep. It's the whole control fiasco. But let's talk about Call of Duty. Call of Duty was officially announced this past week. We're not actually going to talk about the game more than we did that little trailer because you're not going to get any good talk from us. But this is something that someone put, or Call of Duty News, the Twitter account, put regarding the physical copy. For kind of a keep in mind thing. For everyone planning to get a physical edition of PS4 will upgrade to PS5 for $10. Physical standard of Xbox One cannot upgrade to Xbox Series X. Physical standard of PS5 only includes PS5 version. Physical standard of Xbox Series X includes Xbox One copy. So it's completely fucking different depending if you get PlayStation or Xbox.
Why? Who fucking knows? Why? It doesn't even is one like I couldn't follow any of that because it's like confusing as hell. Is one even better than the other? Or is it just different? It's better in some ways but worse in others. It's like
I guess technically as far as the physical edition for the current gen consoles, you can technically upgrade to PS5 for $10, but you can't do anything to upgrade the Xbox One to Series X for reasons.
So is that Sony paying for that to happen? Like, why does this happen?
I don't know. If it is Sony, fuck off, Sony.
I mean, Sony seems to be like just throwing around money to get like this is a very weird, granular, like small thing for them to be like putting it.
And the physical edition of PS5 only includes PS5 version, but if you have a Series X one, you also have an Xbox One copy. Because pretty much Microsoft is trying to make it so when you see Xbox boxes, it's going to have a Series X and Xbox One logo on it. That's what they want to happen. As many games
they're wrong. None of us really knew, but I definitely I had been talking about since like way back when these consoles were being announced and everything that it's like the backwards compatibility thing is seeming very weird and confusing, and I feel like a lot of people are like, no, it's clear. Like what? It's clear. It's like it makes perfect sense. Now we've gotten close to it. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, no, this is just a complete jumbled mess. It's like. I don't know. You shouldn't criticize anyone for not understanding how this is working because it just really seems like there are no rules.
I do think there were some people like at the very beginning just trying to make Xbox explanation a little more confusing than it was at the time. Obviously, more information has come out and it is a fucking mess.
But even smart delivery is still something that means nothing because it's basically Sony has it too. They just don't have a name for it or whatever. And all it means all smart delivery means is that some developers are doing this and some developers aren't. So we have to have some distinguishing thing for who is doing upgrades and who's not. And it's not even a yes or no. It's yes, maybe if you have this, but no, if you have this, but you buy the. And maybe your PS4 you might put into your PS5, but it still just plays like a PS4 game. It doesn't do the enhancements. So I'm like, what? It's like this whole thing. Like back in the day, you just put your PS1 disc in your PS2 and. Bada bing, bada boom, you play the game. It's like, I don't know.
Unfortunately, some companies realize they can make more money in this and tried to just make this all stupid.
I hate it.
Yep.
I hate it a lot. Just play indie games that aren't going to fuck you over. They're just going to be like, no, you can have it. Like, just,
at least Cyberpunk is simple.
Yeah. CD Projekt Red usually has a good attitude with this type of stuff, too.
Yeah.
Now it kind of makes more sense why I remember when CD Projekt Red first, like when they came out and they're like, you will not have to pay any extra money to get this next one. You'll do this. Like you'll get all the advancements and everything. I mean, like a lot of people, myself included, were like, wait, this wasn't expected. I was like, why are you making such a big deal about this? I thought this was just I thought this was just gonna be how it works. And now in hindsight, I'm like, oh no, thanks. Thanks for not being a douche about this whole thing. Video games. But you know what's like a good video game? Hitman 3. Yeah, yeet.
So we got some information. This all the stuff I'm going to say comes from Jordan Alleman from IGN. Hitman 3 has a release date of January 20th. We knew it was coming out in January, but it decided to it's this day now. We didn't know before, but now it's this day. It's gonna launch on pretty much everything. I guess except for Steam, because Epic's like, we're giving you money. Stop it.
No Switch, Jeff. You can't say everything.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's a dead game now. Speaking of backwards compatibility, players who purchase a digital edition of Hitman 3 on current generation platforms will be eligible for a next-gen upgrade free of charge if they decide to jump to the PS5 or Xbox Series X in the future. This means if you buy the PS4 version of Hitman 3 on the PlayStation Store, you'll be able to download the PS5 version at no extra cost. Now, this adds a wrinkle to it where it sounds a lot cooler, but what does that mean for physical edition? I guess you're just shit out of luck if you buy physical.
who purchased the digital edition.
So even this thing that seems kind of simple froze thing because like Cyberpunk is apparently no matter what version of it you get, you're good.
And that's what I swear. There's been some that's the other way around. It's the physical work if you put it in there. Again, it's a fucking mess. Like you have to like decide how you want to buy this current gen game so that you can get the next gen upgrade. It can't just work. None of it just works. And we're people who follow this shit all the time, and it's confusing to us. Imagine how it would be the soccer mom buying stuff.
Oh no, they're gonna be plenty of moms going to GameStop and be like, "Why isn't this working?"
Yeah,
and that'll be an understandably so thing.
My son's friend that works on his PlayStation. Why was it not working on my Xbox? And like, fair enough. It's like this whole thing's stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hitman 3.
Looks dope. I'm excited to get that VR shit going, man.
Yeah. And we brought it up when I played a bunch of games with my sister. I don't know why I never thought about it. Like, she would love these games. And, I mean, they're not really my type of games, but I'll watch her play them. And it's like, I should definitely do that.
Yeah.
I should definitely do that.
And then what's coming?
Much content.
Yeah, we can take that VR headset over to her and let her just whack someone with a frying pan.
Let my sister live out her dreams of murdering people.
Yep.
And feeling the life drained from their bodies.
Well, we had a little of the conversation, Darby, that I was thinking about having, but, let's do the rest of it. We got a Nintendo Direct Mini this past week. It was heavily rumored. The people that predicted and say it was going to happen were correct, that there was something happening.
And I imagine not much has changed in your mind or your hype levels before or after that direct. I can't imagine that direct did much for you.
I went into a week with little expectations, if that makes you feel better about my mindset.
I know, I just can't imagine there's like really anything that you're like, woo!
The most I can say
Kingdom Hearts lore, I guess.
I mean, I'm not buying that Kingdom Hearts game. I'm not doing it.
I admire your willpower, Joe.
It has a jazz version of Dearly Beloved, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's what YouTube's for, Joe.
That's what YouTube is for. But I need that sweet, sweet lore, though. But it'll be free.
That's what Wikipedia is.
Yeah, it'll be free lore. Puyo Tetris 2 is cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And it's, new story mode, has a new versus mode with items and skills and all that kind of fun shit.
Can't wait to play its demo for 60 hours.
Yep. And it comes out on my birthday.
Ooh, happy birthday, Jeff.
Yeah. What other stupid shit is there in there? A collection of Saga Final Fantasy Legend. So you get a collection of 3 Final Fantasy Legend Game Boy Advance games. Or Game Boy games, because 30th anniversary, yeah. I think those games aren't particularly good, so that's not great.
Feels bad.
Jump Force was in there. Just Dance was in there.
World of Tank Splits.
Yep. So yeah, it's kind of what I was planning on just talking about it, and that's pretty much do what we just did, and then kind of what we did a little earlier, talk about what the fuck's up with Nintendo and all this shit.
Yeah, I think we talked about it enough.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Well, I guess we can also mention, just real quick. Looks like we're people in the know. We're getting a new Switch Switch Pro. The long rumored one might finally be real. Actually, something I saw that apparently was confirmed a little before this podcast. Well, not confirmed, but Nate the Hate, which is one of the Nintendo people I kind of follow, who said this direct was happening when it happened and all other stuff. That's who I trust at this point. Said it looks like Mario definitely got pushed back. They were trying to get it like during his actual anniversary month. It looks like it's going to be in the holidays now. That is not a surprise whatsoever at this point, but hopefully we hear about that soon. Now, I don't know if Nate did this, but it sounds like Jeffy Grub, who we also trust at this thing at this point, sounded like we probably should hopefully make it a regular direct or at least something from them in September. Kind of ambiguous thing, but gives me more at least some hope.
We shall see.
Yep. So yeah, Darby, it's time for the segment that should probably have happened more than it. I should have made the segment much earlier and made it more recurring because it's happening a fucking lot nowadays. Everyone gets a movie/TV show.
And you get a TV show. Look under your chairs, ladies and gentlemen, watching this podcast, because you probably got a TV show.
For whatever reason, it feels like now a whole buttload of people like video game stuff wants to make TV shows or movies.
Even if their game property is not that big.
Like Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden is getting an animated movie. It got a trailer that you can watch right now. And boy, is that CG rough.
Pretty stiff.
Very stiff. The character model's not great.
Everybody got some broomsticks stuck up their butts.
Yep.
It's just visually doesn't look very good. And as I was saying when we watched it before we started, even if the visuals did look good, I just can't imagine convincing people to spend money on a Mutant Year Zero movie, like to already have like indie, right? I think it's an indie game that kind of flopped from as far as I can tell. And then you think like, yeah, we're gonna put in money and this is how we're gonna do it. This is like we're gonna go to an even more crowded market. And it's like that we're gonna be the first video game movie to be successful. You know, one of the first. I was like, I just can't picture it. I can't picture it. Yeah,
don't disrespect the king.
Too true. Yeah.
One of the top grossing movies of this year. Never forget.
He's gonna go. What if Sonic ended with this like top movie because of COVID?
Let's go, baby. I think something's already. I think Bad Boys for Life or some shit past it. So yeah. I agree with everything you said. Before I actually saw the trailer, I just saw a movie. I didn't know it was a CG one. When I saw that, I was like, okay, you know, that's probably smart for this. And then I actually saw it. I was like, oh no,
not like this.
Yeah. So let's talk about something more exciting. Okay, yeah, I'll just read this. This comes from Shane Gardenberg from The Verge. Netflix has announced a new live-action TV series based on the Capcom's popular Resident Evil series of video games that will be produced by Constantine Film, the same company that made the previous 6 Resident Evil films starring Mila Jovovich. I don't like those movies.
And let's back out of the story. Never mind, not good anymore.
There's reason to have hope. The upcoming series will feature an original story set within the world of the Resident Evil, set across 2 timelines. The first will see sisters Jada and Billy Wesker move to the corporate town of New Raccoon City at age 14 before realizing destination and their father may be concealing dark secrets. The second timeline will jump 16 years into the future with the Earth devastated by Resident Evil's signature zombie-making T-virus and focus on Jade and less than 15 million human survivors trying to survive in a world overrun by 6 billion mutated monsters. Andrew Dabb, who had previously worked as a writer and a co-executive producer on Supernatural, will serve as the showrunner, executive producer, and writer for the 8-episode series. With Browen Hughes, a director best known for her work on The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul, set to direct the first 2 episodes of the series. So I haven't read too much about people's things. I probably should have did that a little bit more because, you know, I like Resident Evil. I love the games that I played, but I haven't played all the games and know Elder War. So, you know, take against what my takes on this stuff with a grain of salt.
Yeah. We don't have Jacob here.
Yeah. Part of me is happy this isn't actually based on any of the games and necessarily like this isn't like another Leon story or Chris story or something like that. It's obviously related to characters because these are Wesker's daughters. But that could be an interesting hook. And a couple other reasons I'm kind of interested in. Have some hope for it. It's only an 8-episode miniseries.
Yep.
I love Supernatural. I mean, I haven't watched it a little bit, but I loved what I've seen of it. So having some guy there is not, to me, not a bad sign. And also a writer from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Come on.
I mean, if you were to tell me,
director,
like what video games have like the best chance of being turned into like a live action movie and actually being good, Resident Evil would be near the top of the list.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did not get that when they tried.
No, but could. Could. I'm saying there's a possibility. There's a possibility of it.
Netflix means, as far as like a TV show means, get a decent budget at least, hopefully.
Yeah. I wouldn't feel quite as I mean, you know, I think Last of Us Chernobyl creator with Neil Druckmann working out. That's like the biggest slam dunk as far as like, okay, I feel good. You know, there's a few levels below that, but there's definitely some good names.
I feel like I've seen some mixed things about it being Wesker's daughter, the protagonist.
So those are new characters. Like, we don't know about them. I mean, they said presumably of relation. So either the Verge guy just didn't do his homework, or they're not haven't been.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm sure you listen to the Easy Allies podcast. I feel like they mentioned something about them being in some games.
Yeah, I zoned out a little bit.
So I feel like they have been in some games. Obviously, again, I haven't played.
I think he said like Wesker's children have been, but I don't think they necessarily said these.
Oh yeah.
I think it was guys, or
at
least one of them was a guy. I think. When the Easy Allies was talking about it, but I don't remember exactly. So, I don't know.
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, who knows? Wesker may have little involvement, so it just might kind of be completely original story with some hints to the regular series and just in the world, which could be cool. And part of it, again, is the fact that it's apparently going to be an 8-episode miniseries. It's kind of like, okay, this could be a cool thing. They just kind of... They're not going to do a Walking Dead and draw it out.
Make it a Watchmen.
Yeah. So, I have some hope for it. Speaking of things that we have hope for, Gotham Knight.
Ooh, that's controversial. You can't like this game. That's illegal.
It's true. So we got some new information about this game, and it came from an interview that creative director Patrick Whiting and senior producer Floor Marty had with IGN's Joe Scrabbles. So I'm just going to read all the information, and we can talk about it and react to it and all that shit, because I don't think you know some of it. I've heard some of it.
Yeah, I've probably heard bits and pieces.
This is a quick summary that I found, etc. Free throw seemingly gone, free throw combat seemingly gone in favor of something more akin to traditional third-person action games.
What was that? Free what combat?
Free flow combat. So it's not Arkham combat.
Yeah, I just couldn't understand.
Cool. Something different. Not surprising based on what we saw.
Yeah. Go and we can talk about it when we get there.
Options for variations in melee range and stealth types. You can kind of customize. Stamina bar, bottom left purple bar from gameplay vid for special attacks. Ties into ability tree and gear. Gear.
Yeah, gear and experience definitely seems to be the thing that people are hung up on the most. Seems to be the biggest change.
Yeah, I think and we'll talk about it once we get through this. Think of it more as the game of service, because I don't think it is. No, I think more of it as an RPG. Yeah. But because of the preconceived notions, people are still just really hung up on that. It's like, how's that any different than what you do in the freaking Witcher?
No, but I think people are not wanting it to be like Witcher. Yeah, like people are wanting it to be like, people don't want the skill trees and the stuff like that.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I'm not really, I don't care, but I'm just relaying what other people are upset about.
Open world, fully available from the jump. Just get out there and do your shit. Fight crime.
Immediately sprint into the penguin's hideout and get murdered.
Yep. See his little lounge and the icicles and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see Harley frozen.
Who brings tomatoes to a funeral?
No level gating whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wonder what that means exactly.
I take it as if you try to do a mission, we'll be like, you're not the right level.
But the enemies might just be like so hard that you can't do something.
Yeah.
That's like a form of level gating. Yeah. But again, I'm not hung up on this. I just know a lot of other people really don't want the levels and stuff, including Will. Will said the same thing. Yeah, and I respect that. I'm not even a fan of the original, so I'm not too bad.
Picking up levels. Enemy levels vary based on types of missions.
Yeah.
Missions can be approached in different ways, stealth or straight action. Do whatever the fuck you want.
That's very cool.
If you want to go in as Robin stealth, or what I might do is switch around the characters, go stealth Mayor Robin, Red Hood. Let's just fuck shit up, man.
Yeah.
Suits are customizable, but there will also be full skins.
Nice.
Game is fully single player with optional 2-player co-op. You can have 2 of the same characters in co-op.
Weird.
So
that second character is just they act like they're not there, right?
So this confirms to me, and you kind of saw that like in the gameplay footage we saw when you do the cutscene with Mr. Freeze. The Robin that's there was not involved whatsoever.
But they were talking to each other when the Robin came in. Was that just completely faked for the trailer?
No, I think they will talk. I don't know how that's going to work when they're
I'm about to say, what the fuck? Like, if it's two Batgirls, then what the hell are you
They might banter and be cute. I don't know. Hey, multiverse.
Okay.
But this kind of more confirms to me that this is going to be more of a single player thing. Just with it's like, we'll get the option for co-op. Why not?
Which I mean, like if I end up getting this or something, because if it's interesting enough, if you're okay with me being there, I'd be down to play this. Yep. Like me and you play through it together. I mean, I would understand if you'd want to play it single player. But
let's see. Not a game as a service. Multiple villains will have their own branching storylines.
Yeah, they did talk about this being through like 20% or something through Mr.
Well, this is the thing about me is like the branching stuff, like how branching in what ways and all that kind of stuff. What crazy shit can you do?
Interesting.
That could be fun. It takes place over multiple nights, but daytime is limited to the Belfry base of operations. Room for growth within the game's universe, possibly hinting at more stories coming in the future. So I don't think that's necessarily surprising that they're looking at potentially making this kind of a series or whatever.
Yeah.
But this makes me more happy with the kind of general direction of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm more again the like skill tree aspect of it. I mean, that just sounds more interesting to me. I mean, I'm more down for the customizable RPG than I am the just action game anyway. I mean, that's part of what I don't like about Arkham and some of the other games like it is that I feel like it just gets very repetitive and I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, I prefer you giving me like putting the character's progression in my hands to do what I want with it. Like that sounds more interesting to me.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I understand that. So, I get more and more excited with this game, which is good. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to beat up a bunch of thugs as a little girl.
I'm casually interested in it. Well, I kind of doubt I'll be paying $60 for it, but we'll see. Maybe if I see more.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we're going to transition into a Marvel-related story.
Oh.
Talk about a game we don't talk about too much, and that is Fortnite. They announced their new season, and they're like, fuck you. You thought we were being cute with our just single skins? We're doing a whole Marvel season. And some gameplay thing looks like you're pretty much doing a story mode, single player team thing with Marvel characters.
Yeah, so like, do you know what it is exactly?
I don't know.
I what the actual in-game thing is.
Yeah, it seems like its own mode that you just kind of do and fuck around as Marvel heroes fighting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I mean, it's crazy how far this Marvel partnership has gone with Fortnite.
Well, it's kind of weird. Like you say that about Marvel. DC has had plenty of crossover and stuff too. Like this probably is, well, before this, like about as many, if not more, DC skins as Marvel skins.
Fortnite's just so big that everything wants to be involved with it.
See Max's video about it?
No.
He's kind of, people were kind of, wanting him to react to it, and he did. It was just kind of like, well, he was also, when he was looking at stuff, he was surprised to see both DC and Marvel both, and it's like, what the fuck? Because he's not really looked at Fortnite whatsoever.
Fortnite's just that big.
And he was just kind of pissed about it in general, in a way of, and I get this, it's part of the reason I'm bringing it up, it's just kind of the little thing of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came at the wrong time. With the roster, while Marvel Ultimate Alliance and fucking Fortnite get Iron Man, Wolverine, like Storm, Doctor Doom, and stuff, all the shit in one thing together.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I thought he was just going to be mad because it's Fortnite. And I'm like,
no.
That is getting so obnoxious to me that it's just, I mean, the Apple War aside, everyone is just like, Fortnite. Everyone just hates it because it's popular, and it's just very obnoxious to me.
No. It was more like they're more mad at the fact that a Marvel's a Capcom game, with the series he absolutely adores, came out at the wrong time, and that obviously hurt the game big time. But it's kind of a good news. As part of the reason bringing it up because now, obviously, we've kind of been seeing it that Marvel/Disney is kind of more okay with letting these characters loose and okay with.
It's frustrating how it seems like this happens like with everything, like we said the same thing with like PlayStation All-Stars. If it was made today, it seems like developers are just like way more open to just like, yeah, put our characters and everything as free advertising. It just sucks how like strict company, like you just have to work off of these big companies and their arbitrary rules. Like, they'll care about very arbitrary things because it's all run by a group of like 10 dudes in suits who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So they're just like, no, we can't have them cross over. And then they see, oh wait, they're making a lot of money. Poor man. It's like, idiots.
Yeah.
It would have made money back in 2010 too. It's like, you should have been doing this. People are stupid. But I mean, this whole thing looks cool. Unfortunately, I have not looked into it enough. But I'm interested to see if it like how much of an actual story is being told in here, because you know it's a multiplayer battle royale game. Yeah. I wouldn't think that doesn't, you know, I don't see where you add the story mode in there, but like maybe it's just a completely different thing. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Sadly, it sounds like neither of us have done our homework on this.
Nah. PlayStation Plus for September got announced. Got some pretty cool looking games. Got that there, Street Fighter 5, but just the vanilla edition, so you get like 5 characters. Not really 5, but it's not many. They're like about 50 now. I think there's only like, I don't know how many, less than 20 or some shit.
Nah.
So
that sucks. But it's something.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to give it a try.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. Yep. Street Fighter's never been my thing, but I mean, like, having, you know, any portion of Street Fighter 5 free is kind of cool.
Yep. And PUBG.
PUBG.
And there's one of those things that remind me, oh yeah, PUBG wasn't free to begin with. It still isn't free.
Weird.
Just with every other battle royale mostly being...
kind of surprised that hasn't changed to being free at this point.
So, that's neat. Apparently it runs like, or at least ran like shit on PS4, so...
I mean, it kind of runs like shit everywhere, doesn't it? It's PUBG. Yeah.
PUBG.
That's part of the charm, Jeff.
Remember 3 years ago when it was the hottest shit in the world?
And then it just cooled off just as fast as it heated up.
Yeah. At least here. I don't know if it's still true, but at least last year it was like, I don't know, PUBG's technically as big as it was in other countries. Just here. So, honestly, solid month. Very good month.
Yeah.
2 big games.
Absolutely.
I think honestly the Street Fighter 5 thing is interesting, just good timing, just because of the big roadmap announcement they just did. It's kind of like, hey, all this, we're still, supporting this game through the end of next year and all that. Yeah. All these crazy characters.
I'm so morbidly curious to see how they handle Street Fighter 6. I mean, it's going to be a long time, but I'm very curious to see how they handle it.
Now, I guess main topic time.
All right, this is the main topic, and it's just going to be a quick thing that I am springing on Jeff. All surprised like. This doesn't need to be a big topic, but I'm just curious, Jeff. I'm just going to ask you a question.
Oh, God.
That I just want to know the answer to. So, Jeff, right now is August 31st in the year that will never end, 2020. And we have had quite a few good games. Very, 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 very good games that we've all played. Or mostly you've played. I haven't played that many games, but mostly you've played. And I just want to know, right now, before the end of this podcast, you got to tell me what your 2020 game of the year so far
Fuck you.
Right now. It's not legally binding.
Yeah.
It'll be legally binding at the end of the year. Right now, it's not legally binding, but I am allowing you to include your remasters and definitive editions and stuff. So, Persona 5 Royal and Xenoblade Definitive Edition.
I'm counting to the end of the year, FYI.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But these are my rules right now, so I'm just making sure you know that you are allowed to include them. So right now, if you have you have to say by the end of this podcast right now where you're standing.
Okay.
I went into this assuming that this is just an excuse to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake and Last of Us Part 2 again, but I don't know, man. This man's been loving all of his other JRPGs over there. So and his Paper Mario. So I don't know, Jeff.
It's
talk me through this.
Okay, it's kind of hard. I'm trying to think of the games I mean, it's not a big race as of right now, but I'm trying to think of games like I keep on forgetting, like, Dreams obviously technically came out this year, so that's a thing. Love Dreams, and especially the VR thing, so that's obviously gonna get.
Yeah, like Dreams, Shantae, Ori,
Resident Evil 3.
Evil 3.
I seem to like that more than most people.
Yeah.
So I'm already getting a strong top 10 already.
Oh yeah, it's going. Your top 10 is gonna be very, very strong.
So it's hard with the games you mentioned for Persona, Xenoblade, and Paper Mario, because I'm not done with those games. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving all those games. Right. And it's a problem because I'm absolutely loving them because I'm not finishing any of them. And I've told Darby I guess people know Persona 5 almost at the end of Kanashiro's Palace. I am putting that game down until I get done with Xenoblade and Paper Mario.
And it's a long game. You should take breaks.
Oh, 100%. I wanted to make it clear because I don't know if you thought this, Darby, or anything, just because I've had this game for Paper Mario and Xenoblade for a while and obviously not done. It's not that I stopped loving them or I didn't. Yeah. It's that I was just really in the mood for Persona. That's how it works.
You cannot deprive yourself of Persona when you're in the mood.
No, Persona. But like with Paper Mario, it's just such a jolly thing. Just the most just pure fun, especially like after The Last of Us, just kind of having that. It's a very nice thing. And just in general, just the writing is excellent. And I think just legitimately, like when we get to our best cast and everything, it might be when I really sit down and think about it, like obvious, but so many strong articles with like again Paper Mario, Xenoblade, obviously excellent, Persona.
I was about to say, I think about just Xenoblade, Persona, Paper Mario, Final Fantasy, and Last of Us. You're talking about best cast, like fuck.
Yeah.
If you're not me, then it's like fuck. I don't know.
Yeah. It's gonna. Be crazy. And as far as like when we get to top 10's Fall Guys, it's going to be in the running for that for sure, because I'm loving it now, and we're going to be playing a lot more between now and then.
And it's probably just going to get better.
Exactly. Yeah. But as of right now, because I'm not done with Persona and Xenoblade and Paper Mario, I don't know how they're going to fare once I get done with them. Based on what it sounds like, they'll just get better in my mind. Just wasn't seeing other people's say, so we'll see. But obviously, right now, if I had me picking it now, it's only reaching Last of Us and Final Fantasy. That's just the way it's been since I played those games.
Yeah. I figured it was. I definitely wanted to give all those other games the lip service. Yeah. And I don't know. I thought there was a chance. I didn't think it was likely, but I thought there was a chance you'd be like, you know what, fuck it, Xenoblade. I'm close enough to the end. But
I'm just gonna throw this out there. There is a chance Xenoblade, and then honestly Persona. I don't think Paper Mario will be. I'm loving it, but there's enough there that I can look at.
Stiff fucking competition.
Yeah. There's always a chance Persona and Xenoblade can come out when I'm finished. Especially with like when I hear people talk. Persona's a weird one where I see people talk about the highlights of it being different parts of it. Like depending who you ask, like I've already passed the best parts of the game.
I disagree.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that just shows. It shows. Yeah,
and with Xenoblade, it's like it keeps on ramping up.
Yeah.
So the ending can just completely blow my mind, and obviously there's the epilogue, and that could just do it for me. But thing is, with Last of Us, sequel to one of my favorite games of all time. We had questions about like whether this needed to be made going, but then it completely blows both of us away, just with everything and. To the point where I think we talked about the discussion. I question which one of those two games do I actually like better, Last of Us or the new one.
Okay, yeah. Which is telling because The Last of Us Part 1 is near the top of both of our all-time lists.
Exactly, just what they did with that story and those characters, and just the risk they took with the narrative is something that alone I appreciate, and I think they pulled it off so well. That I obviously love it, and everything I just said I can say exactly about Final Fantasy VII Remake, just in a completely different way. Like the narrative risks they took, and just the way I just love it, and everything. I would always appreciate appreciate them for what they did. Like give them respect, but
and just what they did to such an already timeless classic, and the sheer amount of like love and detail they put into them. Like this has to be. I mean, it's also because they're two of my favorite games of all time. These two, Last of Us Part 2 and Final Fantasy VII Remake, but like this has to be one of the most fun head-to-head game of the year.
The thing that kind of sucks about it, like when we get to the end, just kind of discussing when we get to the end of the year, and we'll discuss it is. I'll be having these questions of which one potentially with another one thrown in there, but it's no question for you, unfortunately.
This is why I'm asking you this question.
Because about literally any other year, Last of Us would probably be your game.
No, not a question.
The only reason I said about any year, I don't know if how you feel about Red Dead against.
Red Dead would be over it, probably, but it would be close. I mean, I could be convinced.
Yeah.
It would, at least there would be a competition there.
But it's just because again, about any other year, those games would be be my number one. But the fact that they're coming the same years and that now making me have to put these head to head, it's hard because partly I feel like if I had to look at it objectively, Final Fantasy VII probably has more stuff I can nitpick in. Obviously, just with its pacing and
I agree with that 100%. I prefer Final Fantasy VII.
I mean, I guess you can also levy that to a lesser degree to Last of Us as well, just with some of the parts. Yeah,
it's just it's always stupid, the whole if I'm looking at this objectively, it's like
that's why I'm kind of glad the way we do it. We don't actually do reviews.
Yeah,
we just talk about whatever the hell.
And if I was doing reviews, I would give The Last of Us a higher score than Final Fantasy VII. Mm. But I definitively enjoy Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, more. I mean, which it feels weird to say anything negative about Last of Us because of how much I love it, but obviously, and especially I feel like this discussion was already so interesting, but then the fact that I was literally playing these games kind of at the same time, because I was playing Last of Us Part 2 and then I would go play Final Fantasy VII with my sister, my replay of it. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of striking whenever I started playing 7 Remake again. It was like I was walking through the environments and I was trying to do things that I couldn't. I'm like, oh yeah, the environments are a lot more rigid and static in what you can do. And I just came from Last of Us when I'm diving, doing all these things. It was things that seemed subtle in Last of Us, but then I go back and I'm like, oh damn, I can kind of tell I'm going through these paths and everything. But then that being said, I mean, you just watched the ending of 7 Remake again with me, and there's just things about that game and the level of production value. It is like an Uncharted Naughty Dog game level of production mixed with just unadulterated Japanese storytelling. But
I live for that shit.
But the fact that it combines those worlds, it's wacky and crazy, but also feels so believable and real at the same time. The marriage between those two things is something that I've just never experienced before. It's and there's I don't know, you just can't get that. It's just hard.
Yeah,
I just love that head to head because it makes no sense to compare these games, which is why I love comparing these games.
Yeah. The thing is, also the combat in both of them are just so good
in completely different ways.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff.
And
where are you leaning? What's your head?
I honestly don't know. It's hard. Literally, the only time this has been as difficult, not harder, was Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, when it came down to that. This is very similar to that in my mind.
Yeah, that was hard. Very hard for you. It was kind of hard for me, but not as hard. Again, not legally binding. That's where your head's at now. That's where your head's at now. And then I'll know if I have to. I'll have to create my pitch to either stay or go the correct direction by the end of the year. But
I think it might be Final Fantasy VII.
That's my boy. Why do you think that?
It's because, again, when we talk about the anime wackiness, that's my shit, obviously, and that's just I just the way just everything about the story, I just loved it. I love the way they handle things. And part of it is just the discussion they came after, which, again, another thing to compare between these two games is the discussion and how people felt differently, and all of it, for the most part makes reasonable. You look at some of the last discussion and some of that was very unreasonable,
but the reasonable ones were so much fun to have.
And just, I feel like the absolute highs are, and some of the greatest highs of Final Fantasy VII is just all-time video game great highs to me, and I know that way for you.
Yeah,
obviously. Last of Us obviously has some of those too, but I feel like just some of the stuff that stands out, the big moments that stand out for Final Fantasy VII might be just what elevates it a little bit. I don't know. And here's the thing that's interesting. Like I do this list now, and then who knows? Let's say this sticks at the end of my end of year list, and then part 2 for Final Fantasy Remake comes out. Whatever, and they just take the story in a very nonsensical direction. Then we do another all-time list. Last of Us jumps it. Last of Us, it's a thing where Last of Us Part 2 is firmly in place. No matter what they do with a sequel, I feel like that's firmly. Final Fantasy VII, they could do something that just ruins our perception of this game.
In hindsight, it becomes kind of worse because this was like the jumping off points for something that not as strong. I totally agree with that.
But it's just crazy at the same time, and I kind of hate I'm this way because it makes me feel weird that I'm this way with a lot of more recent games when we talk about our all-time greats and stuff. Like if the way I'm talking, like where I'm saying I don't know which one I may necessarily prefer between part 2 and part 1 for Last of Us, and I'm talking about putting Final Fantasy VII above that. That means these two games are like top 5ers all time for me if we're looking at that from that way. Yeah. So it's part of me hates that like if we were to redo it, it's gonna be a lot of recent shit. But
it's just that's really how I feel.
Again, that's how I feel, and from an outside perspective, people would judge me. But then I also think about like a lot of the classics I just didn't play just because they're before my time, or I didn't have a PlayStation. I didn't have an original PlayStation 2. I got late and played a bunch of either anime licensed shit or a bunch of anime-ass games like Xenosaga and Dot Hack and shit.
Yeah, we are young. I'm starting to even see that with like Blessing it kind of funny. He says some things about like putting like when they were doing their like PlayStation ranking and stuff, he was putting like Ratchet and Clank like above a lot of things, and Greg was like, "What in the world?" He's like, "No, Ratchet and Clank's fun or whatever," but it's like you're putting it above this, and Blessing's like, "Yeah, it was very important to me." Like you're young, they're starting to be like our generation is going to get older, and they're going to have to realize like, yeah, I know Ratchet and Clank was just a dumb little thing you saw as a kid, but to us that was our Mario 64. That type of shit's going to have. We are very young in comparison to a lot of the industry people we like follow and everything. But I generally agree. Most of my favorite games are like more recent games too, and slightly different subject going back to it. It does legitimately make me really happy that even if at the end of the year you end up saying like part 2 is above Final Fantasy or whatever, the fact that it does make me happy that like my favorite game of all time and a story that like means so much to me personally, a story that you had not really experienced or whatever, and you experienced it in this way that I felt like was just what I remember as a kid but better, and the fact that like you love it that much too does really make me happy. It's like that is very, very cool.
It's also cool that I'm not alone luckily. I'm not a crazy person.
No, I've seen many other people who like also didn't play it who like are falling in love with this now. It is so cool to see. Final Fantasy VII's been my favorite game for so long, and to see so many industry people now attached to the same story and characters that I've been attached to this whole time, and they like only knew in passing. It's like that is really cool that like we all kind of feel like everyone's brought up in the hype train now. Which is really exciting. Well, there you go. That is a brutal fight, a brutal clash of titans between those two games, and we'll have the real. This was the pre-war. We'll have the real clash between those at the end of the year. And we'll have to get. Jacob has played one of them. I don't know if Jacob plans on playing Last of Us, but then Will has played Last of Us. So
no, he's got to play the other one.
He's just got to play Final Fantasy VII. Gosh darn it, Will.
Wait, why don't I have Jacob on to talk about Final Fantasy VII?
I know. We had him on.
I forgot that he played until you just said it.
We had to play Deadly. We had to get him to talk about Deadly Premonition, and then we had so many other things we talked about that podcast that we kind of ran out of time.
Yeah.
But we should. Next time you, all right. No, Jacob, next time you're on, news be damned. We're talking about Final Fantasy.
Well, not next week when you're on because that's betting special.
The next time you're on. No, screw the betting special. Final Fantasy. Thank you guys so much for joining us for episode 156 and There's a Large Gaming Podcast. Make sure you go check out youtube.com/nerdsatlarge and see all the different things we're doing. We're doing Settle It, where we challenge each other back and forth. I have my hello Sonic. Nice of you to join us.
Hello.
I hope you didn't kill Jeff because kind of need him for the show.
I grind him into chili.
Cool new Settle It coming up. The ghost Pokemon thing that should be coming up very soon. And next week, bet results. We'll see who won. Until next time, I'm Darby. That's Sonic. And go tell your mom you love her.
And go fast, everyone.
And go fast.